Welcome to What Do You Think? My name is Isaac Barcelona, your host. Today we're doing something different. Our past guest, Drew Mercy, triggered so much feedback, good and bad, that we had to bring him back to kind of, finish the conversation. And Drew, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Isaac.
It was really interesting, all of the feedback that came through, on the last appearance by you was really stimulating. And that's one of the comments that I heard is like, Drew's very stimulating. He's wrong, but he's stimulating. So I wanted you to come back and kind of, why would somebody say you're wrong?
Well, I have no idea, but, obviously, it's important in everything we do to always be willing to challenge our ideas, look at things from other points of view. But in terms of those issues that we discussed last time, particularly with the healthcare, I would challenge anyone if you, when you have government-run, socialized healthcare, there's more denial of services, particularly at end of life, and there's a much longer, months-long waiting period just to get in to see a doctor.
And that's proven by the examples that we have around the world.
In fact, one of the comments I got as a result of our show was, someone contacted me who lives near a military base where they have, free as much as you need health care. And what she told me is try getting in to see a doctor because that ultimate availability is there, but with limited supply to meet that ultimate demand. And what happens is 3-month waiting periods just to be seen about a cold.
So what would your strong points be in saying the proposed health plan by President Obama is not going to work?
Well, as I said, it's modeled on programs in other countries that have resulted in massive denial of service, particularly at end of life, and months and months long waiting periods just for the most simple procedures. The NHS, National Health Services in Britain, is a perfect example of that, as is the Canadian system.
And I think that would affect also the quality of service you're going to get.
Absolutely.
Because of the incentives for doctors to either not be as good as they are now or, because there's no incentive.
There's the incentive whether to even be a doctor. That's part of the problem where that supply goes down as the demand goes up because you've manipulated the market for that service. If doctors are being told you've got to go through these years and years of medical training, hard and arduous education, and then be told you're not going to be making a decent living.
Or you're going to, it doesn't matter how good you are, you're going to make the same money as everybody else.
Right.
Yeah. There's no incentive there.
Absolutely.
Well, what do you think? Stimulating and innovative conversation and issues. We invite you to join us, and we'll show you how. Stay with us. What do you think? Stimulating conversation and issues that affect everyone. We're talking to one of our best guests in controversy and in stimulating conversation, Mr. Drew Mercy. Drew, let's pick up where we left off.
Well, in terms of the healthcare, again, it just comes down to two things: supply and demand. If you increase the demand to unlimited and you decrease the supply, we're going to have long waiting lines, whether for a doctor's office or hospital visits. And that's what we've seen in countries that do this. Particularly, we've got people that have health care. Why are we going to throw out their system that's serving them well, rather than take that narrower approach to say, okay, well, let's go to the folks that are underserved and unserved right now, and let's figure out how to get them access to health care.
And that's one of the scary things that I've heard, is those of us who already have a plan that we're under, we may lose that because now the employers would be motivated to get rid of that because it'd be probably more expensive or not what they want anymore. And so those of us who have a plan already are going to lose it. Let's talk about something else. What do you think of the present proposal to empty the prisons, to make room for the budget?
Yeah, I mean, it's the worst idea to cut budget that I've heard. This immediate proposal that's in California is to release 40,000 prisoners and save money because And it's a 3-judge panel, federal judges, that made this decision, basically saying that it's because the prisons are overcrowded and we're not spending enough on health care that we have to release these prisoners. Now, there's a couple things we need to keep in mind when we start this discussion. Number one, they are not nonviolent, drug-only offenders. Through Proposition 36 in California, those folks have already been taken into a diversion program. By the time they make it to state prison, these are the bad guys. And so releasing them on the street is a bad idea. Number one, it's not going to save any money. You can ask anyone in law enforcement, those folks are going to be back in jail in no time, especially when they start seeing that, hey, my sentence isn't even going to be fully served, I'll be back on the street in no time. You take away the deterrent. Additionally, there's a lot of other ways we can save some money. Thanks to these federal judges that are forcing us to spend exorbitant sums on prisoner health care, we're spending $45,000 a year per inmate. Other states average $30,000. All we need to do is model ourselves after what the other states are doing, spend $30,000 a year per prisoner, and those budget constraints will be relieved.
And I hear too that we provide health care that is even better for the prisoners than most people have on the outside. Is that true?
It is, and they know how to game the system. When they go in to see the nurses, they know exactly what they're allowed to get, and every hospital visit that they're able to get, where then they're away from the rest of the prisoners, but they make a complaint. The corrections is so afraid of the litigation that they're spending exorbitant sums to make sure that this prisoner can't then come back and sue them.
That's amazing to me. Well, here we are. What do you think? Stimulating conversation. Do you agree? Do you disagree? We'd like to hear from you. We'll show you how. In the meantime, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome to What Do You Think? Stimulating conversation right here with Drew Mercy. Drew, some final thoughts on the things we've been talking about?
Well, they're complicated issues and it's hard to sum them up so quickly. But what it really comes down to, again, with healthcare is, do you trust the government, the way they operate existing programs? Do you trust them with your healthcare?
That's a really good question.
And and second, again, with the prisoner releases, it's a dangerous idea. It threatens the safety of our families, and it's not a budget solver. These are folks that are in and out of prison, and they're going to be back there.
I'd like to challenge our viewers. Those of you who do not agree with what Mr. Mercy is saying, I want to challenge you to come on board here and come tell us what you think, and maybe even challenge them to a debate. It'd be very stimulating, and that's what we're about here at What Do You Think? Some parting thoughts, real quick.
Well, again, with healthcare, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's keep the part of the system that's working and figure out how to address the needs and create access to healthcare for the folks that are falling through the cracks.
We'll see you next time on What Do You Think? This is Isaac Barcelona. See you next time. What Do You Think? Is a Gig to Me video production. And if you'd like to be a part of our family of sponsors or a guest on our show, we'll let you know how to do that in just a moment. In the meantime, we'd like to invite you to tune in to future episodes and really participate. My name is Isaac Barcelona, your host, and I want to know, what do you think?